What's really the only like real option that's not a band-aid, that's not an end around, that's not some bullshit political explanation? And that answer to me seemed to be cut spending. Like we've got a 3 or 4 or 5 trillion dollars in tax receipts. Like, let's just back off the fucking spending addiction for a little bit and just try to, this is like turning around the fucking Titanic. Like, you don't do it in like, 30 feet. You got to do it over like 300 miles and you start to make a turn. Like, but let's just at least telegraph that we're going to try to do something like that. And I was hopeful for Doge rather. You can put all my beefs with Elon Musk behind me, and I'll just say that I was hopeful that they would be able to cut spending, and it just turned into, you kind of touch the third rail when you talk about defense spending, and it's like you touch the third rail when you talk about monetary policy. Both kind of parties are just like, yeah, this is fine. It's like, I don't know. When are we going to have the big discussion about what we can cut, or the big discussion about how the Fed is widening the inequality gap? So
USAID was a big one, to be fair.
Yeah, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not. Like money-wise.
Money-wise.
Debits and credits. It's what was it?
They also front-loaded a lot of it because they saw this coming.
20
so
billion,
they were deploying
50 billion?
billions before I think the administration's flipped over. But USAID was a pretty big blow. That's just going elsewhere, right? It's going into other budgets. I don't think that the work is finished there.
It was big.
I don't
in the sense,
disagree with you on the Department of Defense either, though.
It was big in the sense, far more than what they saved from it. It was big in the sense that people saw what was going on there. Like, that's $500 billion worth of like, red pill kind of capital, right? Because people saw like, all right, well, what are we doing? Like, we're funding fishing lessons in Rwanda, or we're supporting transgender penguins in Antarctica. I don't know what it is, but like one thing after the next was just like, to the average layperson, even to a Democrat, like you got to look at that and be like, yeah, maybe this isn't the best, way to deploy capital. So cutting spending was really, in my opinion, the only way that we could have righted the ship. Now we're going through this like, okay, we're going to try to grow our way out of it, but the fiscal situation in the U.S. is in terrible shape, and I really think that we're at an inflection point now. We were talking about this upstairs. I really think we're at an inflection point now where something big is going to have to give. I don't know whether it's going to be we're going to have to do some type of debt jubilee, or like we're going to have to readopt the gold standard. But half the world in the BRICS nations is waiting for the U.S. dollar to fail. And the rate at which it's failing is accelerating. I mean, it's not just moving at the same ridiculous rate. It's going faster. We're spending more at a faster rate. The deficits are getting larger. The money supply is getting bigger. The Fed's balance sheet is getting... the next round of QE will be unconscionable to somebody if you had told them 5 or 6 years ago. So we are at that point, and I was telling you part of the reason I thought Bitcoin was a good kind of jumping off point.
Bitcoiners historically really like QE.
Right, but even just to talk about like
good.
The things about Bitcoin that I don't understand and why I kind of consider it to be a worthwhile, kind of just leap of faith and a bet is because I don't feel like the landscape has ever been fertile enough or fertile as much as it is for there to be some type of major change in the way that money works globally. And we're there right now. At least in my lifetime, since I've been paying attention, I haven't seen anything like this.
It's pretty weird that it's hitting at the time that it's hitting, that, Bitcoin is maturing into this like macro climate. Have you read The Mandibles, the book?
No, I don't read.
It's a good book. You're an English major. I thought that was
I didn't read in college either.
A friendly touch point that I could pull
I
on.
told him upstairs I switched to being an English major so I could kind of bullshit my way through college. I went in as a computer science major, and as soon as I found out they were requiring actual finite answers that could not be contested, I was like, I need, this interferes with my plan of drinking beer at college. So
I'm not wrong. They're my feelings and opinions.